can't remember now. We got down to the track just before dark. Really cold night it was, so we kept the engine running, just to keep warm like while we waited. Crappy thing it is, smokes like a chimney and sounds like a bag of nails in a tumble dryer. I'd eaten most of my fish chips and curry sauce, rest had gone cold by now. I was screwing up the paper when Billy said,
"Don't leave your wrapper in the van, it'll stink place out."
So I tossed it out window and managed a really good burp at the same time. Billy swore.
So you can knock out a badger at 50 yards with that one.
Lad. Hey, maybe we could try it. I saw one as we drove up, like.
Yeah? Well, won't be around long when we get down up the embankment.
Anyway, we got down to some work shortly after that. Got the Jenny going, got the lights rigged, got the old beatbox cranked up. Right little party it was. It was then the party pooper turned up. Little guy from one of the houses at the top of the embankment.
Hey! My wife's up there, in bed, and she can't get a moment's rest for you.
Hey, well, don't look at me, mate. I've been down here all the time.
And don't you get funny with me, pal. It's that radio. It's too loud. My wife's having a blue fit.
Well, we've got work to do, and these lads won't craft the radio too now, will they?
I know you've got work to do. I'm just saying, keep the noise down. What with that thing, and the radio, and the constant shouting, we can't hear ourselves think.
Hey, lads, who always rocket round here? I can't hear what he's saying.
Hey, I'm not having this. I am not having this.
Then he started going red in the face. Never mind his wife. Looked like he was one having the fit.
Then you'll know about it. You'll be laughing on the side of your face, mate, I'll tell you. I'm going to call your boss. You're going to be out of a job, mate. You're nothing but a bunch of cowboys.
Yeehaw. That was the first thing Sam had said all night. A couple hours later, we finished the job and we're packing up. Sam was picking up some empty oil cans, but Billy said he didn't want a load of garbage cluttering up the van. The lad didn't know what to do with them, and Billy was itching to get back to the depot. Being helpful, I just took the cans and just tossed them up the embankment. In fact, you can call me and both of them if you like, but a couple went right over the top. So I've got a good swing. That's not my fault, is it? It was only some old cans. Shouldn't have done any damage, should they? If Billy hadn't been such an old woman, it would have been all right. I mean, you can't blame me, can you? And it's not as if anyone had died, except a few lousy fishes and maybe that stinking badger.
At Network Rail, we only employ track workers and contractors who work to the highest safety, quality and environmental standards. And having seen how not to treat the environment, we're now going to look at the duties and responsibilities you have towards looking after the environment. The first thing to say is that wherever you're working, the way you do your work can impact on the environment. You could be affecting wildlife, the quality of our air, land and rivers, or the quality of life of people living and working nearby. The Network Rail Environmental Policy Statement sets out in general terms what we expect of ourselves and our contractors. More specific information relating to the job you're about to do will be given to you at the briefing before you start work.
Badger's set on site over there, right?
Please make sure you attend this briefing and that you know what environmental issues you're likely to face, such as the location of nearby houses and watercourses or protected sites where there may be rare plants or animals. Because many stretches of track are relatively undisturbed, they are often home to protected species such as badgers and dormice, great-crested newts and adders. Apart from the fact these are beautiful creatures in their own right, they are also protected by law and must not be harmed or their nesting places disturbed. Because these and other protected animals are becoming rare and don't like human company, they'll probably avoid showing themselves when people are around. But that doesn't mean they're not there. So when you're told about a protected site, don't drive through unless you can be sure you won't disturb or damage the habitat. don't remove any protected plants, and don't leave waste materials around. And if you do find a protected species, or you suspect their presence, stop what you're doing and immediately inform your supervisor. Remember, if you interfere with any protected species or injure any wild bird or destroy its eggs, you could face hefty fines. One of the biggest sources of complaints from the public is noise. Nobody likes being disturbed at home, particularly during the night, so anyone working near houses should be as considerate as possible. Make sure generator covers are closed to minimise the noise. Don't leave van engines, generators or other plant running when they're not needed. As well as annoying residents, it wastes fuel and pollutes the air. Likewise, not everyone wants to be serenaded at 3 in the morning, so keep voices down. If you can't make yourself heard, don't shout, move closer. Another major source of irritation is rubbish. Tossing rubbish out of van windows or leaving litter lying about is sloppy and will attract vermin. At Network Rail, we take pride in what we do, and that includes running a clean railway. So please take your litter away with you. It's not just litter that needs to be cleared. The same applies to any other site waste. Fly tipping is not acceptable. It's illegal, unsightly and expensive to clean up. And as for the burning of waste, this is also against the law and is strictly prohibited. So all waste materials should be removed from site and taken back to the depot. There, make sure it goes into the correct bin or skip for the type of waste you're dealing with, and that the containers are left secure to prevent fly tipping. Empty grease and paint tins are special waste and must not be left at the line side. Once somebody leaves one tin, other people will add to the pile. Even when they appear empty, they may still contain fluids which can leak out and contaminate the ground or local water supplies. But leaving rubbish around can have even more serious consequences. Around 90% of all derailments due to objects on the line involve vandals using waste from the line side. And vandals are also responsible for another major time and money waster, graffiti. It's not pretty and it doesn't make us look good. So whenever you see graffiti, litter or fly tipping, don't just leave it. Take action and report it to your supervisor. And help to keep things in better shape by locking gates after you and ensuring that fencing is in good repair. By making sure there's good security on site, you'll help to protect any materials stored there, as well as reduce the available stock of missiles for vandals. And because the materials may be valuable or hazardous to health, or both, it's your duty not only to use them safely, but also to take care that they're protected against leakage, damage or theft. At the end of the job, as always, make sure the site is cleared of unused materials and that waste is disposed of correctly. One other thing to remember is that where you're dealing with a protected site, try not to store materials there before the work begins. Polluting land, rivers and sewer systems can result in huge fines and a lot of bad publicity. It also wrecks the environment and puts your own health at risk. Contaminants spilled on land can seep down and enter watercourses, killing fish and other aquatic life and endangering drinking water supplies. So take care when dealing with anything likely to cause such damage. Spill kits must be available on site if liquids are being stored and used, and drip trays or bunds must be installed to contain any leakage. You'll also need to remember that drains are normally coloured blue for stormwater and red for foul water, which connects to the sewage works. But bear in mind that contaminants such as oil and chemicals cannot be poured down any drain. Once again, it's not acceptable and it's likely to result in prosecution. If at all possible, refuel plant and vehicles at the depot and not on site. When you do refuel, always use a funnel and drip trays. If there's a spill, you'll need to act quickly to prevent contamination of drains or land. Make sure you know where the spill kits are and how to use them. If you're on site, they should be with you, not back in the van 20 minutes walk away. Report the incident immediately and follow the emergency procedure. Being a good contractor includes being professional about the environment. It's not an optional extra. Our safety, health, and ultimately our jobs depend on it. But it's not rocket science. Most of it boils down to a few simple principles. Leave your site as you'd wish to find it. A tidy site is likely to be an environmentally friendly site. Be a good neighbour. Common courtesy goes a long way. Respect your environment. Don't do anything that will harm people, wildlife, the air, land or water. Know what's around you. Your own and other people's safety may depend on it. Report any incidents, major or minor. Don't leave it to others. If in doubt, ask your supervisor. The railway is one of the most environmentally sustainable forms of transport. If we act responsibly, we can help make the railway, once again, one of the most attractive ways to travel.